Hello and welcome to The Hill Project. My name is Paige and this channel is all about our DIY journey on the Saskatchewan prairies. As you can see, it is pretty frosty out here, so I am heading indoors for this week's project where we will be insulating our garage. I was feeling intimidated at the onset of this project because I've never done anything like it before, but it turns out insulating is fairly straightforward stuff, and to lean into a heavily overused expression, if I can do this, you could do this. Let's talk insulation. For this project, in the walls, we're using R value 20 insulation, and then in the ceiling, we're using an R value of 40. You can also double up your R20 insulation. If you stack it too high in your ceiling, it's equivalent to an R40. What we've got here is R value 20 insulation. What that means is the resistance to losing heat. So the higher the R value, the greater resistance to losing heat. In your walls, or if you're insulating a floor, you'll need a lower R value than if you're insulating a ceiling, like we're gonna be doing. Each piece of insulation is 16 inches wide, which aligns with the standard stud spacing on these exterior walls. The insulation is held in place by the friction or tension created by being in between each stud. Make sure the corners and the edges are fully expanded. Any compressed areas will lead to heat loss. Cut your pieces about an inch wider than the cavity. I did this using a square to compress the insulation and then a sharp utility knife for a quick and easy cut. For installation around switches and plugs, I found it easiest to cut my large piece, first put it in place, and then cut out the slit or the space for around the boxes. By cutting a slit into the insulation, I had the excess material that could be slid behind the box to still provide insulation and not have any gaps or empty spaces. Word of caution, be careful not to cut or damage any of your electrical, and as Grandpa always says, cut towards your chum and not your thumb. Be careful. Around the wiring, split open your insulation and put a section of the insulation behind the wires and a section in front. Make sure none of the insulation is compressed because ultimately that reduces your R value and leads to more heat loss. Now onto the R40 insulation in the ceiling. Because we're planning on doing vapor barrier and plywood sheeting right away, there's no need for any strapping. If you're going to be leaving your insulation exposed, you might want to consider strapping or even chicken wire to secure things in place over the long term. To complete the install in our dormer ceiling, we ended up renting some scaffolding. This made the process so much easier, and I wish we would have rented it sooner. Working directly below the insulation and fiberglass debris really brought to light the benefits of good PPE here. I highly recommend using some goggles and a mask. This project was time-consuming and occasionally a little uncomfortable, but truly can be tackled by any skill level. Don't be intimidated. Not quite done yet. One final step to make sure we don't have any heat loss is spray foam insulation around our doors and windows. I'm getting to the bottom of the can here, but really simple stuff. Spray in, let it set, then trim off your excess, and you're done. Can't quite call these end results because there's a lot of work left to do in this garage, but I am feeling really good about this finished project, and we can officially run the heater without losing all of that heat.
You're crushing it.
Yeah, right? Or no big deal.
No, you're crushing it, huh?
Good job.
Fish, you're doing a good job. My God, I think it's warmer in here already.